Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode today, and if you're new around here, thanks for checking out this video and maybe consider hitting that subscribe button down below. So today I'm going to be reviewing Metroid Zero Mission for the Game Boy Advance, and this is actually a remake of the original first game released all the way back in 1986 on the classic Nintendo system. So with Metroid Dread coming out around the corner, I've actually never played through any of the mainline 2D side-scroller games. I've only ever played through Metroid Prime on the GameCube all the way back in like the early 2000s. So when going online trying to find original copies of these games, they were going for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and frankly I just don't have that type of money to spend. But there is another option. If you check out the Wii U eShop channel, you can actually find almost all the games except for Samus Returns and Super Metroid for around 40 bucks, and so that's the option that I went with today. So yeah, let's just go ahead and just get into it. Metroid games have always been famously known for their gameplay and freedom they give to the player based off of their skill level. Hell, there are even speedruns of this game you can find all over YouTube with people 100%ing it in just under an hour. Not that that's something that I could ever do, because that requires intense level and item memorization, but these games are always relatively short, with even in casual playthrough, maybe only taking you between 4 and 6 hours. It's the replayability factor that's the star here. The coolest thing about the mainline games in the Metroid series is sequence breaking. So what do I mean by that? Sequence breaking means to obtain items out of the specifically designed order that you were meant to discover based off of a first run of the game. Meaning, if you know your stuff, you can essentially play through the game and find your power upgrades out of order, letting you skip ahead to tackle other areas first, or even just rushing through the key events to get to the ending as fast as possible. However, this being my first time playing through Zero Mission, I obviously won't have the knowledge or know-how to know when I can get what, but that's completely okay with me, because I'd want to just take my time and soak in this universe. The level design in this game is damn near perfect, where exploration is key. Now, compared to the NES version, this is definitely a little bit more hand-holdy, as the devs added in these Chozo statues all over the map to help you push forward in the game and give you some constant sense of direction, but I wholeheartedly welcome this change. I actually attempted the NES version first before switching over to this one. I lasted about 20 minutes, got lost, died, saw a password screen pop up. Yes, that's how we old folk used to keep track of our progress at the time, because save states didn't exist in the way that they do now, and said, nope, fuck this. I mean, come on, it doesn't even have a map. How the hell am I even supposed to know how to get around? And you know what, just never mind. I can appreciate it for what it is, but I refuse to put myself through that. So yeah, moving on. While venturing the depths of the planet, you will constantly come across obstacles and roadblocks stopping you in your tracks, forcing you to explore every possible corner of the map that you can, not to mention the plethora of hidden secrets and areas leading you to the multitude of upgrades to discover. But once you find that certain upgrade that allows you to progress past a certain area that was previously inaccessible, man, that is such a satisfying feeling. If you think about it, the entire game itself is just one expertly crafted puzzle. It's rare when games give me this sense of constant character progression. Outside of the essential power suit upgrades you will find, there are 12 energy tanks, 50 missile expansion packs, 15 super missile packs, and 9 power bombs to find. That's a lot if you're going to go for a 100% completion run. Also, some of the puzzles in the environment leading you to certain upgrades, especially in the later parts of the game, require pixel-perfect precision. There were definitely a few where I was attempting the same thing over and over again for at least 15 minutes. Here, just look at this. Well, that was bullshit. I haven't even begun to talk about the boss encounters yet, which were some of the most fun to be had in the game, and some of these guys are tough. Like Kraid, for example. He constantly swipes at you, knocking you off of the single platform you have, all while shooting a barrage of talons at you that instantly grow back. Its stomach has 3 large holes, where he shoots these large disembodied feet with enormous claws at the end, everything doing massive damage to you. You need to try to shoot the eye in the middle of his head, and did I mention missiles are the only thing that hurt this asshole? When you shoot the eye, his mouth opens up, which you then need to start shooting into his mouth. And after he enrages, he knocks down the only platform you have to stand on, with only the feet he is shooting into the walls to rely on. There's a very steady rhythm you need to keep in the fight, and if you mess up, you're in for a world of knockbacks and pain. Not to mention, I kept running out of missiles which would send me to my death. It took me so many times to beat him, and in the end, it felt more like luck than anything else. I barely had any health after my final attempt, but God, it felt so good to see that beast go down in such a dramatic fashion after my struggle. Now I want to touch on the story and how it's presented in this game. The story in Metroid games aren't told in your typical fashion. Instead of being spoon-fed dialogue and cutscenes like we are accustomed to in this day and age, the story is told through the environment, ambience, and gameplay. And while yes, in this remake there are some still images sprinkled about that you could consider as cutscenes, they hardly constitute as that in my opinion. It's all about the subtext and interactions between Samus and the world you are exploring. This way of storytelling is something that sets this franchise apart from most others and has been an inspiration for some of the most cherished indie games we have today, like Hollow Knight for example, which I still haven't really played through yet. But I do plan on eventually playing it and maybe even reviewing it on my channel later on. But anyways, getting back on topic. You play as the space bounty hunter known as Samus Aran, and she has been given her first mission, her Zero mission as she dubs it, with the Galactic Federation to go to her home planet of Zebes to exterminate an entity known as the Mechanical Mother Brain that has been producing a genetically engineered bioweapon called Metroids. These are highly dangerous creatures that thrive off of stealing the life force of all other living things, and together with the space pirates, they have been weaponized and have become an immediate red level threat to all life in the galaxy. So it's up to Samus to exterminate every single last one of them. Now that's one hell of a first mission to start out on if you ask me. Planet Zebes was home to the now extinct race known as the Chozo, which are these weird bird people things that we only have hieroglyphs and statues of for context to what this civilization actually looked like. Samus was actually raised here by these people from early childhood. Even though they're considered an ancient civilization, they were very advanced technologically, and it's still a mystery as to what happened to them to cause them to disappear out of existence. As you are progressing through the world, you need to pay close attention to the environment, as everything, even down to the enemy placement, is how the story is silently being told to you. You'll come across abandoned research facilities with weird twisted experiments running all over the place, to tentacle-infested caverns just ravaging all the indigenous life around it. Everything is carefully placed and thought out with a purpose, even down to the music, setting these deep ambient tones that just echo throughout the entire game. Seriously, the music in this game is amazing. It ranges from the heroic theme we all know Samus for by now, to the eerie and unsettling. There's really nothing else like the soundtrack to a Metroid game that exists, which is another thing that makes this series so unique and special. I love everything about the sound design in this game. So, at the end of the game, after you battle your way through the Metroid-infested section, which was easily my favorite zone by the way, and defeat the Mother Brain, you trigger the escape sequence that the series is famously known for by now. After escaping, a cutscene plays out where in the original, this is where the game would end. However, there's an entire new chapter that has been added in this remake where we get to play as Zero Suit Samus for the first time in franchise history. This part of the game is actually a stealth sequence, and I don't think I've ever had a 2D side-scroller stress me out as much as this part did. So, after being shot down in space by the pirates, Samus no longer has her suit, only having a blaster which is just useless, and must infiltrate into the mothership and look for a way out. I died over and over so many times in this section, because when you're caught, these space pirates are relentless and will give chase until you find a hiding spot to reset the alarms, which even then is not enough sometimes because they will actually pretend to leave the area but just turn around in the doorway where you can't see them and wait for your ass to pop out. Skipping ahead past my multiple failed attempts, you finally find a room in these Chozo ruins where you are put through a trial, which honestly was a really cool sequence. It kind of reminds me of the Shadow Link battle from Zelda 2. After completing it, you regain the power suit and finally have its max potential unlocked. With the suit back in action, you make your way back to the ship and can just absolutely destroy everything in your path. This felt so cathartic after what I had just gone through. The last boss being Meta Ridley was honestly a joke at this point, and after making short work of him, one last escape sequence triggers, I make my way back to the escape pod room, and one final little spat with a few elite space pirates, and then the door opens up and I hop in that escape pod and finally see that beautiful mission accomplished screen. Wait, what the fuck? Only 68%? Oh, hell no. So the credits roll and then you get a still image of Samus saying, "See you next mission," but I wasn't finished with this game just yet. I couldn't walk away without that 100%. Thankfully, after finishing the game, when you pull up your map in whatever sector you're in, it tells you how many upgrades are left in the area. So I spent around an extra 2 or 3 hours to do some cleanup. Went to kick Meta Ridley's ass one more time. By the way, he felt much harder my second time around. Maybe it's because I got every single upgrade, but whatever. And so then I finally make it back to the end screen where I see that sweet 100% completion. And for my efforts, I get a different image of Samus, but in her Zero suit. Cool. Thanks, game. Alright, so I think that's going to do it for my review on Metroid Zero Mission. I loved this game, and I can't wait to play through the rest of the entire series. Unfortunately, I don't have Samus Returns on hand with me, or the Game Boy version either, so I might actually have to skip that one to move forward to Super Metroid and then do Fusion, but it will come out at some point. I at least want to do those 4 mainline games on my channel before Dread comes out, which I'm really excited for. But my next video is actually going to be Zelda Skyward Sword, which is just releasing on Friday as of the recording of this video, and I cannot wait for that. I'm so excited. But anyways, guys, if you like this video, thumbs up, and if you didn't, thumbs down. Let me know to do better next time, and maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Just going to remind you one more time. And yeah, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for your time. Later.